gets extra and better. 102.3 Extra, weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with Lee J. Cheers to something new.
Something now.
It's the bomb, yo. Wake up and don't sleep on a bicycle.
Next. This is Eagles Morning Rise, where you get inspired,
Updated, talk sports,
and discuss topical national issues. Something now.
it's the bomb, yo. Wake up and don't sleep on a bicycle.
Eagles 102.3. You know how it is. It's a fantastic day to be alive. My name is
10 a.m. every weekday.
Where you get inspired,
Updated, talk sports,
and discuss topical national issues.
all served
Hot coffee.
This is gonna be the best day of my life.
1 minute past 9 o'clock. This is your
Morning
radio
Rise
experience
with-
you can count on Eagles 102.3. And you're on to Eagles Outlook this morning. On Eagles Outlook today, we seek to discuss police brutality and abuse of power. Our guest this morning, Kelvin Emmanuel, is a man who was just recently granted, damages, or was awarded damages by a federal high court in Abuja as of yesterday to the tune of 2 million naira on account of illegal detention as well as harassment. Kelvin Emmanuel will be joining us via phone to let us into how he was able to handle that and other situations resulting from issues of police brutality, as well as the Lagos NSAS panel white paper released just a couple of days ago. We're talking about all of that on the program this morning. If it tickles your interest and you have comments or questions, please feel free to dial the numbers 09073530044 and 09087668888. You can send us a message on 09097054450. My name is Iheanacho Prince, and I have Kelvin Emmanuel, co-founder and CEO Dairy Hills, with us this morning. Kelvin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning. Always a pleasure to be here with you.
I'd love to start off by saying congratulations on the court victory yesterday. Tell us about that. You were arrested and detained sometime last year, and it was said to be illegal. You did not give up. You chased on. You followed the case in court legally until yesterday, when the federal high court awarded you 2 million naira in damages. Tell us about that and how you were how you were able to follow up that issue legally.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Well, the case here is a civil dispute, civil financial dispute of a transaction that went bad in 2019, and there were clearly spelled out procedures on how a negative situation or outcome from the transaction should be handled through either alternative dispute resolution or the court of law, the court of competent jurisdiction. Instead, the parties chose to use the police, and specifically through the CP's office, FCT, the immediate part Commissioner of Police, FCT, that detailed one of the squads, the anti-vice, to go ahead and use force, detain me for a period of 30 days, which is a gross violation of my fundamental human rights. They seized my computer, seized my international passport, my travel document. They froze all my bank accounts, which is a clear violation because the law states it very clearly, very, very clearly in the Constitution that the police does not have the right to keep any Nigerian in detention for more than 24 to 48 hours without charging the person to court. If a court of competent jurisdiction has not given an order, an ex parte motion order, to keep anyone in detention or remand anyone or freeze their account on reasonable and tangible grounds, the police does not have the authority to do so. So when this happened, I felt like the best way to handle this is not to shout about it. The best way to handle it was to go to court, because the police, when you see them at the police station, they are always very, very agile and very aggressive and very hostile. But when they get to court, it's a different story altogether.
Quite interesting, because a lot of Nigerians may not have taken that up, on account of, we don't have money to go to court. We don't. Was it financially a burden on you? How was the financial burden on you? Because a lot of Nigerians, the excuse for not, taking up issues, with the court or with the police or in court is that, well, it may be too expensive. So there's no need, chasing this, because at the end of the day, we may never even get justice and would spend money. What was it like for you financially?
Well, and to be honest with you, first of all, I want to use this medium to appreciate my legal team, a very sound legal team that has gone over and beyond with this. I will say the financial burden was not exactly small in terms of you have to pay your legal team to do their work. And I am one person that believes that lawyers in Nigeria, a lot of lawyers, because their lawyers are actually charged what they are due, are not properly paid for the work they do. Going through the process, I realized that lawyers do a lot of work. And documentation is a lot, especially when you consider the fact that court processes in Nigeria is not linear, and the times that you can't go to court this month and expect that you'll get a judgment this month. In fact, your case might not be called for a couple of months, because the average high court judge in Nigeria handles about 400 cases every year. You can imagine that. So it's a lot of burden on them, which was the reason why I remember one time on the program a few weeks ago, a month ago, I was talking about the fact that there are not enough courts in Nigeria. And we're talking about judicial autonomy. Everything goes round in circle. Everything goes round in circle. So, yes, it was a financial burden. It was not extraordinary burden that I couldn't handle. But Nigerians need to get off this notion that the court will not give you the result you want. That is completely not true. The judiciary works. It's just that the process for you getting justice is not exactly easy, because the time it takes for you to stay in court and see to the end requires some level of persistence and patience. And this all boils down to the fact that there are not enough courts and there are not enough judges. Because like I said, the average high court judge in Nigeria handles up to 400 cases a year, which is a lot of burden on one judge in a calendar year. In an average court sitting, a high court judge handles about 12 to 15 cases on a daily basis. A judge sits from somewhere between 30 to 5 to 6 hours in one court sitting. So you can imagine that.
Well, there's a lot that we need to talk about. We're talking more on the conversation this morning, but if Kevin Emmanuel could do it, follow a case up to Federal High Court and get in what he considers justice, then you too can do it against anybody. I mean, when people abuse power, when people abuse the authority given to them, you too can seek redress in court, and somehow, you will find justice. We'll be talking more on the program. It's Eagles Outlook on your radio experience. You can count on.
Radio is an experience. Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja.
Around the world. Wait for it.
Number 2.
Stay right here.
Record-breaking songs top the charts.
Number 1.
Make I tell you waiting up for a bullet. Oh, this big party inside my
Next.
Eagles FM brings you top 10 songs from around the globe. Eagles Top 10, Thursdays and Saturdays, exclusive to Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja.
Oh shit, I get many girls with and they come from away. AJ boys and they like to throw away. Almost go babe.
make any sense.
Tune in to Hall of Fame, where we strut the red carpets of the silver screen.
Learning of an infinite multiverse includes learning of infinite danger.
I am Sub-Zero. I like this one.
I know what this place is.
It's all about movies and what to watch out for every Thursday at 4 p.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja.
Has anyone told you you can advertise your business on radio for just 15,000 naira? Get a chance to talk your business for 25 minutes on The Entrepreneur. Mondays to Thursdays, 3 p.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja. For more inquiries, call 090-9984-4433. 090-9984-4433. The Entrepreneur. Talk your business for just 15,000 naira. Promo runs from 1st December to 31st December 2021. Hurry now.
Eagles Morning Rise. Eagles Morning Rise with
Prince.
14 minutes past 9 o'clock. This is your radio experience. You can count on. You're on to Eagles Outlook, and we're discussing this morning handling police brutality, harassment, and abuse of power. My guest this morning is Kevin Emmanuel, CEO, Dairy Hills, and he was awarded yesterday 2 million naira in damages against the police. He was talking with us and sharing thoughts with us this morning. If he could do it, you too can do it. I mean, just about anybody. Nobody should abuse their power. Not even people in government should intimidate Nigerians. Because the law, the judiciary is there to protect you. I am particular about conversations like this when people say justice delayed is justice denied. Kelvin, as a person who followed a legal proceeding, how was it for you? Did you at some point lose any hope, as to whether you would find justice?
Well, no, at all. I absolutely did not lose any hope. I knew the process because the process was explained to me by my legal team, and I knew that, this is a procedure. We just have to see it through and just follow the process. Even if there were a few adjournments here or there. I remember when the Juice and Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria went on strike, that put the process on hold, and we waited. So it was just a matter of you waiting through to see, because the procedures are clearly defined, and the critical path to judgment is available. So it's just for you to wait and see it through until the end.
All of these, the NSARs stemmed from the fact that people were getting fed up of having to see people who are close to them die or being intimidated by those who should protect them. And as the days went by, people became more concerned until it got to a point where they started to protest. Now let's look at the aftermath of all of that. Just a few days ago, the NSAS, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, the Lagos State government released a white paper on the report of the Judicial Panel of Inquiry, and in that report, it's totally in that white paper rather, it rejected some of the recommendations of the panel. It's saying that some of the findings, especially that of 9 being killed at the Lekki toll gate, was not proved in any way by the panel. There's no evidence to support that. But then many conversations have gone on in the polity as to whether that's true or not. Some people would just not agree, would not just believe that, there was no killing at the Lekki toll gate. Let's leave that aside. Now, talking about following through, or when Nigerians are being harassed by those who should protect them, what is the best thing to do, in your opinion? What's the best thing to do at that time where you're being harassed or intimidated by security personnel?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say, which every lawyer will tell you, is stay on the right side of the law. That's the first thing I'm going to say. It's very important that he's getting the right side of the law. And then it's important for me to say that the Lagos State government is misusing the term white paper, because what is a white paper? A white paper is a policy document that can be issued by a government, a company, or an NGO as a proposal, in terms of the government now, as a proposal that gives you an indication of a future policy direction. That's the meaning of a white paper. So when I saw the document from the Lagos State government, I was taken aback, because I was like, you don't release a white paper to dispute or to reject the findings of an independent panel. If there is anyone that has issued a white paper, it's the NSAS panel that has issued a white paper. The Lagos State government, what you release is a rebuttal to a white paper. So the Lagos State government saying that they release a white paper is a misuse of term. What they issued was simply a rebuttal. It's like a press statement they released saying that they rebutted the report of the NSAS panel that was constituted by the Lagos State governor. So it's like a drama of contradictions to me, honestly. It's like a drama of contradictions, because I see no reason why he made a press conference inviting celebrities and saying that he's issued a white paper, when in fact it was simply a press rebuttal to a white paper. It was the NSAS panel that released the white paper, not the Lagos State government. So it's important for us to clarify this, please.
Now, with what you describe as a rebuttal, wasn't it necessary for the state government to come out and say, well, from this report, we're not seeing any evidence. The panel probably did not do a fantastic job as to providing concrete evidence to prove or support its case. Was it wrong to do that?
Well, to be honest with you, in my opinion, the Lagos State government is a drama of contradictions. The current Lagos State government as it's constituted, and the reason I'm saying this is because, number one, the executive governor of Lagos, His Excellency the Babajide Sanwo-Olu, was the one who appointed the members of the NSAS panel. Number two, all the relevant bodies were invited, and hard evidence was presented that shows that there were casualties and there were fatalities from the Lagos NSAS protest. Hard evidence was presented to the panel.
What do you describe or refer to as hard evidence?
Well, there were cases of bullets that were presented. From what we saw during the protest, there were hospitals in Lagos that received casualties that led to fatalities. I have not had time to go through the NSAS panel report in entirety, but from the little I saw, there was irrefutable evidence. I mean, when you present, when hospitals say that there are casualties that were brought in that led to fatalities, a few families confirmed that they lost people at the protest. It's undeniable. There's no way for you to deny it. There's no going back from that. What I expect the government to do is to acknowledge that yes, that there are excesses of the police and there's police brutality, and that these events happened, and start the process for reconciliation. That's what I expect, and I'll give another example. I'll give an example of the building that collapsed in Ikoyi, that 45 to 47 lives, I'm not sure the exact figure, was claimed, right? That whole situation has gotten quiet and cold. Nobody's talking about it. Okay? The governor says that he's going to set up a panel to investigate, and families are saying that according to them, according to the government, they've flown out samples of bodies out of Nigeria because there is no forensic lab to ascertain the DNA and confirm the dead bodies who it belongs to. Right? Now, the government ought to start a process of compensation and sanctions for the relevant agencies and for families. This is the reason why I'm of the view that the families that suffered casualties from that event needs to come together and do a class action suit against the Lagos State government, against the company, and against the Lagos State Building and Controls agencies that were liable and culpable for that sad event. So for me, I feel like even for the NSAS, the families need to come together and do a class action suit against the Lagos State government and the Nigerian police. The Nigerian police as first respondents, the Lagos State government as second respondents on the suit. I feel like in a situation where you have the NSAS panel report done, and considering the fact that the 5x5 demand of the NSAS protest has not even been met, because as we speak today, there are still people across prisons in Nigeria that were locked up from that NSAS protest as we speak today. As we speak today, there are still people in Kirikiri prison that were locked up from that NSAS protest that are there today because they don't have access to either the Office of the Public Defender, which is completely non-existent in Nigeria, or a competent lawyer to file processes to get them released. As we speak today.
Now, when you say that the panel did a good job and the Lagos State government is refusing that, I'd love to take up something that the Lagos State spokesperson says. It says, and quotes, on the basis of the above fundamental inconsistencies, or rather, he says, the finding of 9 deaths at the Lekki toll gate on the 20th of October is even more baffling, because apart from listing out their names in that form at pages 297 and 298, the JPI offered no explanation regarding circumstances of their death. The names simply sprang up on those pages of the report without any justification. And he goes on to say, on the basis of the above fundamental inconsistencies, the findings of the JPI regarding the 9 deaths at the Lekki toll gate, and particularly because the findings are clearly and mainly not supported by evidence before the JPI, as attested to by the JPI itself when it said there was no contrary evidence to that of Professor Obafuwan, that only one person died at Lekki toll gate of gunshot wounds at the toll gate on the 20th of October 2020. So for lots of Nigerians who are looking at that, they're saying, well, if the panel didn't provide any other contrary evidence, then how can we even believe what the work that they've done?
First of all, let me give you a scenario. So, Ajala, who was the protester that lost his life at the NSAS protest in Lekki on the 20th of October 2020, Ajala is a bricklayer at the site in Banana Island, or Lekki Phase 1, that decided to join the protest event after finishing his work for that day. So, after finishing his work, he leaves his work, comes to the protest site, and the sad event happened. Ajala didn't have an ID card. Ajala is not enlisted on the Lagos State resident database. Ajala's family lives in Ondo State, or lives in Cross River. Yeah, and they are not in Lagos. Ajala is from a poor background, and the family lives on money that he sends them on a monthly basis. They don't have the wherewithal to come to Lagos to hire a lawyer and start the process of getting redress in a court of law. Ajala's corpse was taken to a hospital and then put in a morgue. His family is finding it hard to even pay for his corpse to be moved back to the village for burial. How do you identify Ajala as a citizen of Nigeria? Ajala does not have national identification number. Ajala is not a profile on the database of Nigeria. Ajala's only profile is that he probably and most likely has a bank account with one of the banks in Nigeria. But he's a bricklayer that earns 40 to 50,000 naira on a monthly basis after expenses for transport and food that is talking. How do you identify Ajala? So when the Lagos State government says that no contrary evidence was provided by the Lagos NSAS, what evidence do you need? What evidence do you need? There were spills of blood on the side. Yes? There were bullet casings on the side. Hospitals confirmed that casualties were brought in and fatalities were recorded. What evidence do you need? What evidence do you need apart from that? What evidence do you need?
The question. Well, the conversation continues on your radio experience. You can count on the numbers to call to be a part of it on 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. There was a message on 090-9705-4450. That's for WhatsApp and SMS. The conversation continues. Keep up with us.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Let's spice up your day. Spice up your day. Tune in to a breath of fresh air. It's all fun and games until it gets extra and better. 102.3 Extra, weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with Olije. Cheers to something new.
The sun's up and so shoot your radio. Tune in to the sunny side with your one and only Itado and your girl Kika. Weekdays 2 to 6 p.m. Seriously?
The sunny side show. The sunny side show.
Tune in, you know you want to.
Hi, my name is Ihia Natural Prince. Thank you for staying with us on your radio experience. You can count on Eagles 102.3. Join me on the Eagles Morning Rise from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your radio experience. You can count on Eagles 102.3 FM. 9:34 is the time. You're on to Eagles Outlook on your radio experience. You can count on. Thank you so much for staying with us. We're bringing in the conversation now. Feel free to dial 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. Send us a message on 090-9705-4450. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Anacho. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Japheth, good to have you.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Anacho, it's quite unfortunate that the Nigerian government are even dragging over this case. It's very bad. Let me tell you something, Mr. Anacho. When you don't value human life, it's bound to happen. I'm telling you, in some African countries, these things will not be happening. In common, even Ghana or Kenya, this will not be happening. But Mr. Anacho, we have judiciary. And it's very unfortunate that it's happening. See, reform the Nigerian police, reform the judiciary. I'm telling you, we will not be going through all these kind of processes. It's quite bad. I feel sorry for those that lost their life in that instance protest. And yet, the government is supposed to protect them, even denying me. How does it sound? I'm telling you, it's quite bad. It's bad. Very, very. See, the report is here. They know people that died in that. It's out of wickedness.
Well, Japheth, how can we prove all of this? How can we prove all of this? A panel was given a job to prove beyond reasonable doubts that such a thing happened. And as it is, if there's still a debate about it, then it means that maybe the panel did not do a thorough job. Thank you very much, Japheth, for calling. Anyway, back with our guest, Kelvin Emmanuel, who is the CEO and co-founder of Dairy Hills, who's joining us this morning on this conversation, talking about police brutality as well as abuse of power in general. We're talking with him. He was awarded yesterday 2 million naira. I'm just saying this. I know that. Kelvin, do you have hopes that you'll get this money awarded to you against the police?
That's a very good question because when people say, "Oh, money was awarded against Nigerian police to you," how do you think you can recover that? I say, just wait and sit down and relax and see when the payment will be eventually credited to my account. Of course, I'll get the money against the Nigerian police. My lawyers have already started the process. This is not their first rodeo, and I don't have any iota of doubt that they will see it through the end to make sure that the alert is sent to my account. I don't. The judgment will be enforced, and the money will be paid in record time at that.
Okay, I love the optimism. Now let's talk about the police reforms. Jeffrey just mentioned if we transform the police and reform the judiciary, maybe all of this would go away. We wouldn't have to debate this. But then it's also important to point out that police brutality is not peculiar to Nigeria. Even in the United States of America, we see issues of police high-handedness where police people shoot and kill individuals that they're supposed to naturally protect.
Well, to be honest with you, Nigeria cannot compare itself to the U.S. police system because the U.S. police system, number one, is decentralized. In the U.S., there is no federal police. There is federal police in America is the Federal Bureau of Investigations and the U.S. Marshals. The policing in America is state police. Every state has its own police department that is controlled independently from Washington, D.C. Right? The issues in America, like we've seen, is more of racial profiling and the proliferation of semi-automatic rifles.
Kelvin, please hold that thought. Please hold that thought. Let's bring in this caller. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my prince.
Good morning. Paul, it's good to have you.
Thank you very much. Good morning to your guests in the studio. I want to say just a little bit, even though I don't want to talk much about the NSAS issue because from day one, I was even having issues with some of my friends. At the point, I thought when we started this NSAS, at the point, there was an opening for leadership to emerge and discuss this. And knowing fully well that this country, you can't hold protests for more than 2-3 days without infiltration. So knowing the style of the leadership of this country, we need to be smarter. And from day one, you will know that whatever comes out of that judiciary of inquiry, if it's not favorable to the government, it's meant to be denied. It's meant to be rubbish. Because me as a person, from day one, I knew this report, even if it comes out, if it does not favor the government, they are going to come out to deny it or rubbish it. Because the whole war, the eyes are on Nigeria, and a lot of things are at stake for them. So I am not surprised for the Lagos state government to come out, whether it's a white paper or to me it's a black paper, no idea. Now, the second thing I want to raise here, please, the panel, I don't know, I want to ask you again, this panel, I did not read the report. I don't also look at the police and some other people that were killed. I don't know whether the panel, the report, capture all those areas. Then, lastly, you see, police reform, it will take a very radical process for police to be changed. Because simple example I will give you that you go out there as a person to go and do, you want to spy, you go to the
Hello, Paul. Now we're finding it hard to hear you. Paul, you're breaking out. We can hardly hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I said a simple example is it will take radical policies to change the police.
Okay.
Because this police brutality in this part of the world is like a daily occurrence. But for you to go as a person, as a civilian, you go to do police spy. You were told for over 3-4 weeks, and you come back, you see police doing the wrong side, trying to correct them. Number one enemy to them. Meanwhile, most of them training that they get some trouble with the police, and you try to correct them as play. They still as enemy, check all their things. So I feel there has to be the orientation. Let them start the process in themselves. Especially take them back to the school. Leave the laws to them. There are lawyers there, there are other people there. They can start to reorientate them so that this consciousness will change. Let them start from within themselves. They have the institution to train them, before other people will come in.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling. We're taking more calls before we get back with our guest who is talking about, the comparison between the US and Nigeria when it comes to policing issues. Call 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Sorry, Mr. Jackson. I don't out of that chat.
Yes,
you were talking about evidence, Mr. Show. Did you listen to the last statement in information made about the NSAS report? How on earth will the minister say, even among people that were killed, that some of them don't have phone name? Mr. Show, I watched the program live. See, please, Mr. Show, should come on next time. Don't compare America. See, Nigeria will never be America. Never in a lifetime. I'm telling you. Never in the lifetime.
We will get better. We will be better than America if we believe
not now.
There's a possibility of that.
The government don't know how to protect. See, one of the main obligations of the government is to protect life. Now, this same government is killing life, and yet they are denying.
You can't say that government is taking lives. No, we won't allow you to say that. Make your arguments. Present your arguments with facts. That's what even the Lagos State government and the federal government is saying. Now, have you seen a student who did a very fantastic job in an examination? Look, there's no way you can deny that. Even if the lecturer wants to fail him, the lecturer may not be able to fail him because he did a very fantastic job. Maybe the panel did an amazing job providing facts that would not be contradictable. I'm sorry. You have to take back that. You have to take back that statement. Yes.
No, get me right. The police are arm of the government. See, anyway, you see a policeman, you represent the presidency or you represent the government. You understand? So we're not talking about them directly, but it was the police that did this. Okay, now let's face the fact. And it has been happening.
You're making a blank argument, what do you call it? Allegation, a very blanket allegation against the police.
No.
It is still
Who
contestable.
does the police represent? Please, I'm asking you a question. Who does the polilis represent?
You can't even say the police kill people at the Lekki toll gate. You don't. Do you have evidence? Do you have facts to back that up? Do you have evidence to prove that? Come on.
Are we blind?
This is radio. This is a radio conversation we're having. I hope you understand that, Japheth. Thank you very much for calling, though. Really appreciate you calling in. But then, if we're going to have these conversations, let's have these conversations in ways that we won't be controversial or we won't contravene any laws. Mr. Emmanuel, you were talking about the comparison between the United States of America and Nigeria, and you said we should never do that comparison because, well, the issues in the U.S. are those of racial profiling and proliferation of arms. Please pick up from there.
Well, and to be honest with you, I was going to add that the Nigerian police, if you compare the number of policemen per head in Nigeria to the number of policemen per head in America, you see that there's a wide disparity. Some of the things that need to be reformed. I will say this categorically on air, and I'll say it on TV, I'll say it anywhere in the world. Nigeria needs to stop providing policemen for VIP guests in Nigeria. So you have a situation where one person has 12 police officers attached to him. There's nowhere in the world, no functioning country in the world where the police force provides security for very important people, while the people who need police don't have police. There's nowhere in the world. So this system has to stop. The current IG has to stop assigning police officers to VIP guests and have them recruit private security. That's what private security personnel are for. Number one, that's the first thing. Number two, they need to provide mental evaluation for people who are joining the police and routine assessment on a yearly basis. They need to provide therapy, post-traumatic stress disorder for police officers. It's very important because even in the army, there is mental evaluation and therapy for post-traumatic stress disorder because the things police officers and law enforcement officials see on the field then cause trauma, and that trauma has negative consequences if it's not treated. These are medical facts. Okay? Number three, there's a situation in Nigeria where the office of the AIGs and IGs are more powerful, CPs are more powerful than the Police Service Commission is an aberration. The Police Service Commission needs to set up an internal affairs department. An internal affairs department that investigates and checkmates the powers assigned to the IG, to his AIGs, to his DIGs, and to his Commissioner of Police, his CPs, across the 36 states of Nigeria. So you have a situation where these people overreach, these instructions, the officers overreach, and there is no well-structured internal affairs department to investigate and checkmate the activities. That's number 3 point. Number four, we have to accept that the remuneration of law enforcement officials is very poor. An average Nigerian police officer, and this is a well-known fact, if you don't pay people well, you attract the worst of the crop. And I'll say it. The Nigerian government needs to raise the salaries of police officers. You need to provide them with health insurance. You need to provide them with an opportunity for mortgage. The Federal Mortgage Authority in Nigeria, the Federal Housing Authority, the Minister of Lands and Housing, you need to provide the Nigerian police with mortgage. You need to provide them with health insurance. You need to increase their pay. The people that should get paid the most in Nigeria are teachers, doctors, nurses, soldiers, police. These are the people that should pay the most, not the politician, political appointees in Abuja. These are the people that should pay the most. These are the people that make sure that the country is secured and the wheels that govern the country are running properly. These are the people that should pay the most. And these are reforms that should be taken as priority. In a situation where the Police Service Commission does not emphasize the welfare of its officers, how do you expect to attract people who are capable of doing the job? How?
Now, I would want us to close this conversation by, talking about how, going back to, what you mentioned about how peace can be restored, or how we can go back to, getting the people and the police, and also trusting each other, the people trusting the police, and the police also trusting, the people, because it goes both ways. Police people that we've seen have been killed, in very, very gruesome manners across the country. Police seem to be a targeted species at the moment. How can we get to the point where the police and the people can get back to working hand in hand, build trust? The Lagos State Governor has called for a peace walk across Lagos State. Do you think that's workable, that can help the situation? And then generally just talking about building trust between the people and the police.
The so-called walk that the governor of Lagos, the His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has called is just posturing and pandering, and it's very, very, very bad political advice from his public relations team. I don't see any reason why he will be calling for celebrities to come do a peace walk for him. What's the purpose of the peace walk, and what's he going to achieve? The 5x5 demand that was requested by the NSAS protesters from 2020 has not been met in entirety. The NSAS panel was one of them. That panel has done its job, submitted its report, right? Has justice been provided for the victims of the panel in total? I wouldn't say it has been provided, because yes, monetary compensations were given to some families, but I wouldn't say justice has been served. That's number one. Because the officers that were culpable and were found to have brutalized people, some of them were dismissed, and some of them are currently going through litigation. The setting up of an independent body to investigate and prosecute police misconduct, that's a job for the Internal Affairs and for the Police Service Commission. That needs to be taken up. We've not seen that yet. Okay? The provision of a mental health evaluation for police officers to ensure that the members of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SAS, is evaluated before they are deployed. That was not done. Most of the and members of the NSA of SAF have been redeployed without any mental evaluation and investigation into their past activities. Yes. Immediate release of all protesters across police stations and prisons in Nigeria. I will tell you categorically that as we speak today, there are still people who are locked up in prisons. We saw on video how Debo Macaroni was harassed and detained in a van in a van in Black Maria. That was a few months ago when there was like a remembrance of NSAS, and it took intervention of some people to make sure that it was really we saw it on video. Okay, so if these 5 conditions are not met, I don't see why he's posturing and pandering by organizing a rally, like a walk, knowing fully well that elections are less than 13 months from now. It's all politics, and it's actually it's a very bad thing.
Okay, now let's read some of the messages that we've received this morning. This one is from Chooks, and Chooks says, "Good morning, Iheanacho. Good morning to the guests too. I've been listening to your guest with rapt attention, and bravo to him for the Ajala scenario he painted. The government sets up independent panel of inquiry. Iheanacho, independent. The executive arm of government convincingly forgets it is just one of 3 arms." Chooks, thank you very much for that message. Appreciate it. Also, SB on WhatsApp says, "This NSAS of a thing is opening more about this government, Mr. Iheanacho. So the uniformed men we saw that day shooting at the toll gate are ghosts. These people should tell themselves the truth because we all know what happened that day." SB, thank you very much for that one. And Calvin Emmanuel, CEO and co-founder, Dairy Hills, thank you so much for talking with us this morning.
Thank you for having me, as always. Thank you so much.
All right, and this is where we'd have to drop the anchors on the program. Thank you to everyone who's been a part of it. Thank you to Japheth and Paul for calling in. We appreciate your thoughts. Oligi takes over on 102.3 Extra in a bit, but before then, business news. Stay here on your radio experience. You can count on.
Eagles 102.3.
Are you ready for this? Brace yourself up for the new sound of radio. Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
You are about to experience Egasm. On the Eagles 102.3 FM.
Welcome to Eagles 102.3 News Bits.
Here is the business news bit. The Security and Exchange Commission has said some registrars are unwilling to release shareholders' unclaimed dividends in their custody. The Director General of the Security and Exchange Commission, Lamido Yuguda, said the registrars had employed several antics to frustrate shareholders from enjoying the benefits of the electronic dividend mandate management system. He revealed this at the 10th annual conference of the Institute of Capital Market Registrars, urging the ICMR to encourage its members to uphold the code of ethics of the profession contained in the rules and regulations of the Commission. He added that capital market operators have a duty to uphold the integrity of the capital market to foster investor confidence, as investors are the greatest asset any capital market has. Foreign airlines flying into the country have stopped local travel agencies and firms from selling tickets to intending inbound Nigerian passengers. The carriers also barred Nigeria travel agencies from selling tickets to intending passengers whose travel itineraries neither originate nor terminate in Nigeria. This is known in air travel's parlance as SOTU ticket, meaning sold out, ticketed out. The move is currently affecting many Nigerian students abroad who are seeking to buy tickets from Nigeria travel agents to come home for the Yuletide. Data have shown that the total number of retirees under the contributory pension scheme has risen by 27% in 2 years. The total number of retirees rose from 291,569 in June 2019 to 370,839 in June 2021. This also means that the CPS has produced 370,839 retirees since its inception. Within the 2-year period, the total lump sum payment to retirees grew by 32% from 671.33 billion naira to 890.73 billion naira. The data obtained from the National Pension Commission showed that 890.73 billion naira lump sum was paid to the retirees from the private and public sectors, aside from their monthly stipends. Oil marketers have said the pump price of premium motor spirit may go higher than the projected 340 naira per litre in February 2022 when the federal government removes its subsidy on the commodity. It was gathered that both independent and major oil marketers were perfecting plans to resume PMS imports once the government halts the subsidy regime. They, however, expressed worry over the fluctuation in foreign exchange rates and how this would impact petrol price next year. The House of Representatives on Tuesday adopted a report by the Committee on Communications on the Nigeria Postal Service Act Amendment Bill, which will create the Nigerian Postal Commission and make...
Welcome to Eagles 102.3 News Bits.
Here is the business news bit. The Central Bank of Nigeria has said the nation's external reserves fell by $610 million last month. The reserves dropped to $41.22 billion as of November 29 from $41.83 billion on October 29. The CBN also disclosed that at the present level, the external reserves could meet the country's 9-month import demand. Figures obtained from the Apex Bank showed that the reserves, which had gained $5 billion in October, returned to a downward path in November. The federal government has said the profit-taking activities of foreign and domestic institutional investors in Nigeria's stock markets have created an excessive risk premium requiring government intervention. The Vice President, Yemi Osibanjo, said this at the inaugural Capital Markets Conference hosted by the Nigerian Exchange Limited in Abuja. He said the NGX All-Share Index was the highest performing index among 98 global exchanges tracked by Bloomberg in 2020. According to him, the profit-taking activity of foreign and domestic institutional investors in the capital markets have created an excessive risk premium that has led to a year-to-date performance in the range of 7.65%. The Nigerian National Petroleum Commission Limited has stated its imperative to collaborate with the Independent Petroleum Producers Group to ensure the industry is well positioned to seize opportunities and minimize any adverse impacts. The NNPC Managing Director, Mele Kyari, in a statement with the enactment of the Petroleum Industry Act, issues around uncertainties across the industry had been addressed. He added that the industry now has a robust fiscal and regulatory framework to anchor its growth and development. The country chair of Shell companies in Nigeria, Mr. Osage Okumbo, has said Nigeria is well positioned to benefit from the current energy transition with its abundance of natural fossil fuels and renewable solar energy. Okumbo, who is also the managing director of Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria Limited, advised the country to adopt a two-pronged strategy for its energy transition program in response to global calls to reduce exploitation of fossil fuels and production of greenhouse gases. While delivering the 51 Founders Day lecture of the University of Benin, he called for an urgent optimization of Nigeria's energy resource for a speedy economic and industrial development of the country. United Airlines will on Wednesday operate an unprecedented flight that would serve as a turning point in the aviation industry efforts to combat climate change. According to the carrier, for the first time in aviation history, a commercial carrier would fly an aircraft full of passengers using 100% sustainable aviation fuel. The demonstration flight will depart with more than 100 passengers from Chicago, Ohio International Airport and land at Washington, D.C. Reagan National Airport using a new United 737 MAX 8 with 500 gallons of SAF in one engine and the same amount of conventional jet fuel in the other engine, to further prove there are no operational differences between the two and to set the stage for more scalable uses of SAF by all airlines in the future. United also announced the second round of corporate participants in its Eco Skies Alliance Surveillance Program to collectively contribute to the purchase of SAF. According to data contained in the latest Gross Domestic Product report released by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, the third quarter of the year, the manufacturing sector recorded a total output of 7.1 trillion naira. The 7.1 trillion naira is 7.1 trillion naira higher than the 5.4 trillion naira recorded in the second quarter of 2021. The output of 7.1 trillion naira for the third quarter of 2021 also represents an increase of the 1.6 trillion naira when compared to the 5.5 trillion naira recorded in the third quarter of 2020. That's the news. I am Elizabeth Adeturu. Good morning.
Thanks for listening. Join us again for more updates on Eagles 102.3 Abuja. Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Download the Eagles FM app from Android Store or Apple Store.
And get the greatest music ever made.
The music of my generation.
You can watch us live or stream live on YouTube, Facebook, and the official website www.eaglesfm.com. Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, your radio.